And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guests are Dr. Peter DeBenedittis and Tracy Juechter. They are a husband and wife team who are here to share their proven ascension techniques for shifting into 5D. Peter and Tracy, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you so much to you and Mara both. We really appreciate your work.
We're happy to be here, and hello to everybody watching, listening.
Well, guys, the ascension is such a hot topic on our channel. And first, I think it's best to talk about what is your definition of the ascension.
So when you ascend, that's has everything to do with your level of consciousness, right? And in fact, let's just dive down into, because all the lingo nowadays is 3D, 5D, all this kind of stuff. Let's just go into that whole topic. So those also are references to levels of consciousness. And the D is more about densities, right? When you are in 3D, it's a lower, deeper kind of density. You're more in survival, thinking of yourself as a victim, limitations, thinking you have to, fight to get what you need and stuff like that. By the time you get to 5D, you are really connected to your sacred higher self, or your soul, if you will, and you spend your time in abundance and love. Not that you're not still human, not that you don't have a full range, but you're no longer in victimhood. You realize you're a creator of everything in your life.
Yeah, so you've heard the term enlightenment before. It's literally getting lighter. So you're losing the density, and that's the limiting beliefs and stuff like that. As you clear those out, then what happens is, all that law of attraction stuff works a lot quicker and faster. And then you start having these experiences that are outside of your normal realms. You start talking to angels and ETs and stuff. It's just all there because your vibration is higher. You can now match all the magic that's in the universe.
And so 4D is like the verb ascension, right? We are ascending from 3D into 5D. And you can kind of think of 4D as bad as adolescence, right? You're bouncing back and forth between having these moments of Kundalini awakening or feeling really enjoined with all of that is, and then the next day finding yourself back in the mush.
Right, yeah. 4D is practice. 4D is practice. And what we do that's different than a lot of people out there who are helping people awaken and ascend. First of all, we're both awakened, so we have the ability to make connections. And just when people are in our fields, when we do sessions 3 days a week by donations to help as many people as possible. So sometimes people just show up in our field and they just start trying and breaking loose because of the energetics of what we're able to hold. But what's really going on is anything fully expressed turns to bliss. Now, if you have an experience and you don't fully express it, usually in childhood, and you weren't allowed to let your feelings out or whatever, it gets dense. And that density does a couple things. One, it cuts you off from all the magic and the divine of the higher realms. The second thing it does is it attracts to you more experience to try to break loose what was there. And that's why when you get to be my age, you hear people say, this is my fourth divorce and I don't know why, or I'm always poor and I just never can make money. So these unconscious beliefs are run because the energy just keeps attracted and attracted. So what we specialize in is going to those places where the densities were first created and then working with people and helping them break it loose and express it. The other thing we do that's very different than many people out there who are helping is we never take something out without replacing it with something better. So many people I work with will say, I addressed that, I've been in therapy and stuff. And I go, great, but here you are back again. How'd that happen? Because your mind's been going down a rut for your whole life. If you don't put something new into your unconscious, then a little while later, you have a short release and then you're back to where you were.
I like the way that you guys explained the D as being density, because I've probably heard this a ton of times, but it's the first time it actually sank in that the D is for density and not dimension.
Yes.
And I'm guessing
Yeah.
that you would consider 4D just to be a transitional state.
Yeah. See, it's like this. If you go into 5D and you still have tons of crap in your unconscious, guess what you're going to manifest? All that crap, all right? Because that's still there. So 4D is learning how to see, oh, what am I still holding? What is it that I'm still creating? What is my power limits? And so you practice, and that's why you go 4D. Otherwise, you went straight to 5D. A lot of people would create hell.
Yeah. And I just want to emphasize too that you can only get glimpses of what it's like to exist in 5D unless you've done a lot of clearing work, because those densities still in your field will keep you, other than maybe after a fabulous Kundalini chakra meditation, you may go into these states temporarily, but you'll come back down. And so if we're honest, Peter and I are still in 4D as well. We are spending more and more time where we feel deeply connected and accepting of things as they are, but we still have moments where we're like judging something or getting upset, and so, this is just where we all are. And I would say in that mix is also that Earth has transitioned. Gaia, beautiful Gaia, has already transitioned into 5D. And so we humans are having a difficult time if the physical body trying to adapt to all these high energy frequencies that Gaia is radiating around us, right? This is part of moving into this golden era that we're doing. And so that creates a lot of chaos in people right now.
So are you saying the biggest obstacle for us to moving into 5D is our own limiting beliefs?
Pretty much. And that limiting belief is not just a belief, Jeff. It's literally physically holding the density. See, one of the things that we were taught and we understand, given your state of consciousness, there's nothing else you could have done. And so if you have a state of consciousness, you can't even have new beliefs. You have to break loose what's holding you in that state of consciousness. Many, many people desire this. That's why your show is so popular. That's why there's so many coaches and teachers out there. Many, many people know and you desire it, but they don't get there because they don't have the understanding yet that you can't just change beliefs because it's just mental and you'll be still stuck on the mental plane. You got to release what was held there, then the beliefs change.
Yeah. So it's definitely not just beliefs, it's stuck emotions. Sometimes I can't use the word cellular because each time we're reborn, we have brand new cells, but maybe I'd call it a cellular memory of past lives, density that you can bring in from previous lives that you had as well. And so it's been amazing since like doing these sessions with the addition of the ability to channel, because each person's soul has been with them throughout all their incarnations. And so that's who Peter and I are channeling when we're doing session work with each other.
Yeah.
The aspect of themselves that knows themselves completely throughout space-time.
Because we've raised our densities up and therefore we can channel. And this is different than how channeling's been in the past. In the past, all the channelers, you'd identify so-and-so as a channel for this entity. And they would just speak for that entity and everything. And that's all well and good. And that's how it was when the planet was denser. Now we're all moving into a place where suddenly we can start talking to everybody. It's like the internet out there now. Everybody can talk to everybody. They just have to know that they have that ability. Because we've done our work, when we're in a one-on-one with somebody or group processes, when we do workshops and stuff, we're in their field. So if somebody's telling me and they're expressing, oh, I got this problem and stuff, I'm already feeling what happened to them in their childhood. All right. And so my game is not to just tell them because then they don't get the awareness and the ownership. Mine is to guide them to see what they've done and then help them and sit with them as they release it. Now, here's something really, really fun because everybody's like, well, I don't know about past lives or this and that. Imagine karma being trifold. Everything that happened in this life, everything that happened from conception to about 6 hours after birth, and everything that happened in your past lives. They're all the same. If it happened in one place, the same thing's going to happen in the other two places. And if you clear it in one place, you clear it in all. It's kind of wild when you get that dimensional with yourself.
I think some of my guests talk about that the world is ascending and everybody's going to go through this ascension, and it's something that's happening for them or to them. But to me, it sounds like from what you guys are saying that if you don't put in the work, you won't ascend.
I think there's a yes and a no in there. Our spirits have both told us that it will eventually happen, right? In 400 years or more, this is kind of unstoppable, this move into the golden era. But heck, we signed up to be here for this transition, and we're kind of selfish and we want to see it. And so Spirit has also shared with us, like, if there's enough of us really working to help people clear and get them lifted up, this could happen in as little as 40 years. So it's not that people might never make it, although I do believe some people, it will be too hard on their nervous system to make the transition completely, but that's very limited. For the most part, yes. At some point, we will move into this.
So it's like this. We're on a free will planet. That's one of the beauties of being on planet Earth. We're on a free will planet. And as such, you can decide when you want to go, if you want to go. Now, most people, when I check in with Spirit, it's way above 96% of the people are here because they want to be part of this ascension ride. They don't know it yet, but that's why they're here. Okay. And so yeah, you can just sit back there and say, do it to me, and you'll get there in 400 years, how many lifetimes that's going to take. Or you can sit there and go, wow, see what Spirit tells me, particularly when I channel Archangel Michael, he's like all over this. He's like, time to grow up spiritually. You spent your whole lifetime being children, saying, oh, divine Lord, show me what to do. What's my purpose? Guide me. Yeah, that's kids. Now you're in your adolescence, step into adulthood. When are you going to be your co-creator and own that this is your life and you're creating the reality and the dimension you want to live in? That's when you step up, when you stop saying, Spirit, show me what to do, and say, Spirit, I'm going to be doing this. Help me. And then you've grown. And so that's what the game is. So yeah, you'll ascend either way. The question is, do you want to suffer for however long you're suffering, or do you want to be done with it quickly?
Do y'all have a list of common limiting beliefs that you can share with us?
I'd like to open up to more than just beliefs, because like in what I look for commonly that's keeping people from being the greatest version of themselves they can be are things like what I would call a soul overlay. And so this always arises in an earlier lifetime where perhaps somebody had spiritual gifts and abilities. And then because the planet wasn't already in 5D energy, people got scared of that. They were, tortured or killed or whatever. And at some point during that torture, they say, never again. I don't want to have these gifts and abilities, right? This is not worth it. I don't want to be tortured. And then that, because they were a sovereign being on a free will planet, that remains with the soul until it gets recognized that it's there. And so that's like a conglomeration of a life of experiences, right? That gets put in there.
So within Soul Overlays, which we've got 2 books out in our My Ascension Handbook series. First one, how to communicate better with your higher self. Second one is on God realization, knowing that you can be God realized, that it's in you when you look in the mirror. That's who you're looking at, is your divine. And then the third one is on service. And on the service book, we go into a lot of detail on what those common things are that people hold. Now, when I work individually with clients, I focus mostly on this lifetime and mostly on 0 to 6, because that's when most of the imprints get put in there. It almost always comes down, Jeff, to I'm not good enough. I don't deserve. I'm not worthy. I'm not loved. I'm not lovable. There's variations like I'll be alone and all this other stuff. Nobody listens to me stuff. There's variations, but those are the key ones. Now, it's not enough to just say I hold those. It's not enough because awareness is important. But if you could solve it mentally, we would have solved it a long time ago. But most people just do mental therapy and talk therapy and rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. Okay, it's the ship still going down. So you have to sit there and identify what was going on, release the emotion that locked it into place, what happened. And it's all kinds of things. When I was 2, my mom left me in the crib and I was all wet and hungry and nobody was there. Or my dad told me this over and over again, you're not worth it. You'll never amount to anything. And right. So you go back to those experiences, you release the pain that was there, and then you put the new set of beliefs in. And that really works. Now, another thing that Tracy's been working on, and if you want to just go out there and just play a little game with our audience, Tracy's been identifying where the beliefs get stuck in each individual chakra, each individual center. And before we came on, Spirit was talking to Tracy and said, talk about their second chakra. So Tracy, if you want to talk about what people find in their second chakra, and maybe we can do a mass clearing.
Sounds great.
So I'll repeat this when we actually get into there. But the beliefs that Peter already mentioned, a lot of the beliefs that are in the second chakra, and they're so persuasive in the culture that that's part of, I think, why the team was saying, yeah, do second chakra work. But it's, I'm not good enough. I can never get what I want. There's something wrong with me, and I can't trust myself.
Yeah. And so the way this kind of works is Trace can go into the field better than I can in this area. And she will just tap into who's watching this. I know that's crazy. People aren't, we don't even know in the future, but Spirit knows. We just have to get in there. She can tap into that. And then she'll start directing energies directly to these things. One, to clear them, and then second, to replace them with gifts, clearing and then gifting. And so it may sound like weird, like light languagey stuff, because who knows what's going to come through and say stuff. If you're receptive to energy, you will feel this. Those of you who are listening to this while driving, don't dive into this part other than to just listen. Okay, be safe. Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, pause the video and come back when you're in a safe space.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I want to say, I'm actually going to ask Peter to call in a team for us here, but I think it's really important that people understand you are sovereign. So you need to first ask and allow that this gift that's being offered be allowed to come into your field. No matter how powerful the team is that's gathering here on your behalf, you are sovereign. You must initiate that desire from your heart. And the best way, the best form of prayer or intent that we've found is that you imagine you've already had it, right? So you're giving gratitude to your divine and this team that we have between us for gifting you with this completely cleared second chakra.
Yeah. So just kind of, some people worry, what, you're going to invite in entities? It's like this. You're sovereign. Nothing comes to you without your permission. Period. Period. You just don't know that. So you play the fear card. So what comes to you are things that make you afraid. Hence all the bad entities out there and stuff like that. So we have a very clear rule. Only beings of high frequency in service to love and light can enter our field, period, cut and dry. All right. And so for all those of you who are running scared out there and have to do your sage and your clearing and stuff like that, you might want to do some inner work saying, why am I afraid? Clear that out, and then declare your sovereignty. But we're just going to go right to, we're sovereign, and those of you viewing will have whatever experience you're going to have, but know that what we're bringing in is of the highest frequency and concern with uplifting the planet and helping you.
Okay, so if you want to call on the team, I'm going to spend the time you're doing that, connecting into the field and finding out who's here and what needs to be addressed.
Okay, so just take a nice deep breath and welcome in your sacred higher self, your soul. They're always with you, but if you acknowledge them, it gives them more permission. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Now your team, your guides and your angels, even if you don't know their names, You all have a lot of support. Yeah. Yeah. Now let's just do a couple more. Source, whatever you call it, whatever your name for God is, the divine, the God, the goddess, ask by name for your source to be here now. And then finally, Gaia, Mother Earth, you've been with us for so long. Thank you. And now we put out an open call to all beings of high frequency and service to love and light. Any entities connected to anyone watching this at any time in the future who wants to help uplift them and help uplift the planet, you are welcome here now. Now, those of you who are energy sensitive and everybody else, take a nice breath and breathe out from your heart to everybody in the field. Everybody viewing this, everybody we've invited in from spirit. Now breathe it back in from them to your heart. One more time, from you to everybody, from everybody to you. And now we're going to go into it with that connection.
So we will first ask and allow for the intent to be set that everyone watching this, no matter which space-time you are in, will receive all of the benefits of having your second chakra cleared from any density, keeping it from being what it is meant to be, which is your source of creative and creation energy. Imagine that as having happened. And the second step, we ask and allow that when we are doing the gifting and clearing, that each of you will receive all the auspicious gifts and abilities which are in alignment with your soul's journey and in a way that is in divine timing, so that your body at every level is able to take in what it is that is being gifted while having ease and grace. And so it is. Ask that within yourself from your heart as we begin. So first, a major part of what has been held in the second chakra are all of the cultural and religious dogma around this beautiful body that expresses in many ways, including in sexuality, and all of the messages that sex is somehow dirty or that it is only to be used for procreation. Added into this mix in the last 30 years has been the pendulum swing to the almost the opposite extreme, that the only way to experience sexual freedom is to have casual sex with whomever, wherever. Notice that within either one of these polarizations, there is no opportunity for simply being able to be who you are authentically and choosing your sexuality, which would arise naturally from your own inclinations, how and when you would choose that. And so those are the densities we are asking and allowing to be released from the second chakra. Additionally to that, there's all kinds of cultural norms for men, for women, who can do this, who can do that sit in this second chakra. No, all of these, we are asking and allowing the team now to delete any frequencies limiting us, no matter which form our body is, from being any and all that we can be, expressing ourselves as we wish. We know that having worked from so many have experienced sexual abuse either in this lifetime or others. And so we ask and allow now that all of the frequencies that still reside in this beautiful chakra of that trauma be released as pure energy back to source. Further, we are going to take some common emotions that sit in this second chakra and ask for each of those to be released. Guilt and shame, definitely existing here in this second chakra. Depression. When you have put out effort towards something that you feel passionately about and you are given a negative response, this feeling like your efforts are unreceived, this is a state which exists in this second chakra. Also abandonment,
Just be aware of any of these things that trigger or you relate to. Focus on it, feel the energy, see the belief, watch it drain from your body now as Tracy and I work with the team to energetically go to that place and help you see it drain out of you. Osmaka shihola mati ush.
Kia shuadika woof. Nuaki nush do duakiaba. Ush dina kikatashta. Oleaba. Ayashta. Uyash du oshtiaka. Ah, Undabashtana. Oh, akatetistama.
That's it. Feel yourself get lighter and lighter.
Yeah. Wafuana. Yeah. Wa. Yohtuka. Washtia. Ah. Katakatata. Oh, what? Oh, what? Oh, nyakatashtia. Oh, oh.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, ask your divine to personally fill that space that has been opened with is right and perfect for you. You are loved. You are safe. You are free to express as you choose. You are welcomed and loved for your expression.
You have always known that whatever you wanted to create, you are capable of creating. You have always known inside yourself what is authentically your truth in anything that you were seeing or listening to, any book, any teaching. You always knew effortlessly, yes, this aligns with me. This message is for me. I welcome this in.
See a golden white light come down from the central sun to the top of your head. It kind of tingles and scratches when you feel it. Breathe it all the way into that second chakra and watch it light up when it gets there. Breathe it all the way in, watch it light up. And now we're going to shut up and amplify that and let it replace what was there. Divine, please let these blessings flow. Oh. Go ahead and let out anything. If you shake or make sounds, go ahead, let it out. But keep feeling that energy get bigger in your second chakra, and then breathe it out to your whole body, from within to your whole body. Okay, just finish with gratitude. Just thank you, thank yourself, thank your team. Just finish with gratitude and we'll continue.
So it is.
Tracy and Peter, thank you for the transmission and the gift.
It was wild because light language showed up. That's been a phenomenon that's coming to the planet more strongly. It used to be around us, speaking in tongues and all that kind of stuff. But now as the dimensional veils are getting thinner, all kinds of beings. We're used to angels, we're used to like ETs and stuff, but now there's there's inner earth beings, there's higher dimensional beings. Those of you watching, right over Tracy's shoulder is a picture of a 12th dimensional being that dropped down and blowing up into the spectrum that we can get it with an infrared camera. And they're here to help. And so when they talk, it's like, what are you saying? Sounds kind of weird. But we get out of the way and they do their thing.
Let me say this.
And it's one of those things, if it happens to you, it's going to totally freak you out. It definitely freaked me out. But after a while, if you're brave enough to use it, people will give you feedback saying like, wow, I really felt this amazing, intense energy come into me when you were doing what you were doing. And then you're able to more relax into it.
During what you were doing, Tracy, were you channeling a shaman? Because it sounded like you were speaking some sort of Native American language.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds different to different people. And no, it's not one channeling. When I am doing this, I am calling in a huge team, 12th dimensional beings, sacred places on earth, Vajrayogini, Mary Magdalene, all the Essenes, anybody who knew how to move energy and help people move into higher states of consciousness are invited in. And then I don't think there's one language or any whatever. It is sounds, and it's not meant to be understood by the conscious mind, but sounds carry vibration. And so it's just whatever comes out on that day.
How is it that you can channel so many different beings?
We're used to an old system where to channel, you had to go through all the density of, the earth was more compact. It's getting lighter now. You have to go through all the density. So certain entities, individuals came and were born on earth with an agreement that I'm connected to this star system. I'm connected to this entity. I'm going to be a voice to help move us in there, move us into ascension. I call that the first wave of channelers. And that's what everybody is used to seeing out there. We're now entering the second wave. The second wave is more akin to the internet. Everybody can talk to everybody now. And so it's a matter of just getting out of your own conscious mind and opening up to the field. And then you sense impressions. And then when you sense the impression, you say, okay, who's there? See, we have very clear protocols because we're sovereign. Nobody can talk to us unless they're, high energy frequency and in service, light, and love. And if you want to talk to us, you have to knock. You have to come to the edge of our field and say hello. And then we'll decide if we want to have an interaction with you. Because otherwise, how many billions of entities are out there and they're all talking and broadcasting? Okay. So then it's a matter of who you relate to. When you get to our level of awareness, and many people are getting there, and we're trying to help others step up by doing their clearing. When you get to our level of awareness, you just simply hold the image of who you want to talk to. All right, so you just say it, and then, the more you resonate, have a frequency, it's an alignment. In other words, you're interested in stuff, the stronger the connection, then you talk to them. So like my go-tos are Archangel Michael, he's on the team. Saint Germain's always on the team. A beautiful entity, Mira from the Pleiades, is on my team, and a bunch of others. Who are your main go-tos?
So mine continues to grow. Almost every time I encounter, like Mary Magdalene's a recent being on my team for me. I didn't know a lot about her. I mean, her whole gospel was, excised from the Bible. But recently I did some reading, and I was so like that inner tingle, like, okay, yeah, this is such a cool frequency of Mary Magdalene. I want to understand this more. And so then I just asked and aloud, would she be willing to start communicating with me? And so I wasn't channeling her initially. I was just getting to know her like you would get to know anybody, an embodied person, not embodied, same process. Very curious, just asking a lot of questions, listening for the answers. And when I felt I had a strong enough bond with her, understood her enough to know that she aligned with the kinds of messages I wanted to give, I asked her, would you be willing to be part of my team?
Yeah. And it's funny too, Jeff, because it's not just how you align, but it's what you ask for is what you get. So for instance, I am totally uninterested in all the channels that have gone on forever. Light and love, and we love you, and it's all beautiful, and and I'm like, give me something practical. All right, give me some action steps that are practical. And if you don't got those, then that's great. Love and light, fine. Okay. So even though entities that will do those messages, they'll come to me, and when I talk, they give me action steps here, here, here. So on my YouTube channel, what I do is usually a message from an entity, and it's laid out. Here's little things you can do to get you there, because we want to be very practically oriented. So your focus of what you want is going to determine the relationship of not only who you connect to, but the kind of information you receive, because it has to all go through you anyway.
A lot of people out there want to connect with their guides and their guardian angels, but they just are unable to do so. Why is
Yeah.
that?
In my experience, just, having done a ton of sessions at this point, that people who are putting their hours in, putting in the effort and don't connect, it is because they have a soul overlay limiting their access to connect to their divine for whatever reason. And I've just been amazed. We do a process to release the soul overlay, and I'm getting these emails a week later saying, I'm just in tears of joy. I am now, sensing my divine, starting to hear my divine. Like when I'm asking, for help with something from my divine, I feel like, everything's lining up for me, and I'm seeing results. So
Yeah. What for me, and this was when spirit started coming to me in a big way. They were saying, "Okay, Peter, are you in or out?" I'm like, "I'm totally in. What's the plan?" They go, "Well, you're interested in ascension. If you want to help other people ascend, we will give you as much as you can take." So I'm selfish, right? As you give, you receive. So if I give and teach people how to ascend, I get a lot of it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be a teacher. Okay. So they had me write a series of books, 3 books. The first 2 are out. The third one's going to come out very shortly, if it's not out already by the time you see this. And the first one is Clearly Communicating with Your Sacred Higher Self. And it lists a 3-step program. How to do awakening, which is to quiet the mind and raise your neurobiological frequency. This is not like all the people say they're awake and they just know all the conspiracy and this and that. That's part of it, but that's missing the boat. That's just having mental awarenesses. That's different than awakening, when your mind slows down and you have a gap between experience and reaction. And in that gap, you can then choose what to do instead of just automatically reacting all the time. So you got to awaken. We got tools to help you with that, including transmissions through our eyes, which we can do as part of the show if you want, and other ways. But that's number one. Quiet the mind through awakening. Number 2, clear. So we got on our website, becomingawesome.one.one, becomingawesome.one. You can sign up for free and get step by step. All right, let's work on clearing this. Here's a program you can do every day for 15 minutes to clear stuff out. Oh, here's how to clear with your parents. Here's how to clear with your spouse and exes. Okay. And they're all free, available.
yeah, those are tools on our website
Yeah.
that you can access anytime you want.
And then number 3 is practice. And the most important thing is, as you get clear, you continually say 2 things. One is you just invite your divine in like they're there. You just sit there and say, "Hey, I'm having breakfast. I got some cereal in the cupboard and I got some eggs in the fridge. What do you want to eat?" And then don't expect an answer. That's the key. Don't expect an answer. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go down to downtown. You want to ride with me? Let's gossip. Hey, I'm watching a TV." Okay. So you just invite your divine into everything you do. And it's like having a new neighbor. You keep inviting them in and they like it. What are they going to do? They're going to show up and start talking to you. Now, the key is when spirit talks to you, it doesn't use words. Everybody says, "Oh, I don't get it. I don't understand." No, if it used words, it'd be talking to you already. You're going to get energetic impressions. You're going to sense things energetically. And when you do the slightest little sensation, there's a very important step you got to take. It's the most powerful prayer ever. Thank you, more please. Thank you, more please. So you get used to it. So now I have people come to me all the time and they say, "I saw this blue orb. What does it mean?" I'm like, "It means you saw a blue orb." "No, but it's got to mean something." No. You're taking a 5D experience and trying to pull it down into 3D, and it doesn't work that way. You got to raise yourself up into 5D. So as you start to experiencing these things, rather than what does it mean and explaining why, you just go, "Thank you, more please," and you start to use the energy that you're there. What's going to happen is very shortly, you can then, people do automatic writing, or for me, I just start to blab and you just let it come out. It's always going to look and sound like you because it has to come through you. And you're always going to have the doubt, I'm just making this crap up. But that's not how it works. As you do that, you learn the vocabulary. Oh, this energetic impression, these words speak true. And so what you're doing is as you're trying to speak what you're sensing, you see, does it still feel strong or is it getting weak? And when it still feels strong, oh, these are the correct words. And then you learn vocabulary. So I sit there all the time and say, Spirit showed me, Spirit says this. And it's not like that at all because I don't see things and I don't hear things. I'm in energy fields and I'm practiced at describing them this way or that way. And I'm also staying in touch internally. Oh, it still feels correct. So these are good words.
Yeah. And I just want to add in, because I think it's going to be different for each person. Peter gets his energy dumps and then it somehow translates into words that come out of his mouth. I do get, like, I call them my misty movies, and I get some imagery.
See, this is why I'm
some
jealous.
hearing
Why I'm
stuff,
jealous.
some this or that. But it's not like the whole enchilada comes in all at once. No, it's like little puzzle pieces. And the more I stay in gratitude, okay, I just got this sense, right? Thank you for this feeling state. Okay, what else? And the more I just be patient and let the little pieces come in, suddenly there's like, okay, now I understand. And, I just have such empathy. Most of us were super conditioned, through religion or the culture or whatever, to believe like it's not ours to know, God knows, or a priest might know, or the Pope, but not you, or whatever religion you were in. There was probably some flavor of that. So we have some programming, some unconscious beliefs to get by. And I want to offer this beautiful little way that you can word things for yourself that allows you to bypass that. So whatever it is you're wanting to know, like, oh, I'm torn between this direction and that direction to go next. Which one do I want? You would ask, if there were this wise inner part of me that knew exactly which of these directions would bring me the most joy, fulfillment, all the good things, right? What might it say? And this helps the mind that's been programmed to think you can't connect to this thing step out of the way a little, because you're not saying there is this wise inner part of me that knows. You're saying, if there were this wise inner part of me that knew exactly which one of these paths is right for me now, what might it say? And then you could either sit quietly and listen. It helps a lot of people to just write, and actually writing with the non-dominant hand helps you connect more into the unknown and stuff. You could just start writing with the left hand. But that's a way that you can get started even before you've cleared the unconscious beliefs or some other stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I call it your internal guidance system, and we all have it. And in our beginning classes and workshops, we always teach discernment, how to actually know when something's true for you, and then how to get even stronger so you can automatically download. I always know what I need to know when I need to know it. And as you get trusting of that, you'll just start getting intuitions and flashes, and you'll just start meeting the right people, and it just gets better and better. At an extreme example, we know a guy who uses his angels to GPS for him, literally. He's driving through New Mexico. He heard me on a podcast, said, I want to come talk to you. And I'm like, okay, how was your trip? And he goes, I was at the hotel. I was supposed to be here at 6. So I just sat here till it was time to go. And then Spirit said, time to go now. So I got in the car and then I started driving, and I didn't know where I was going, and I needed gas. So Spirit said, turn here. And I got gas. Then I came to your house and I got here right at 6, which is exactly when he showed up. And I'm like, you mean it told you where to turn and when to turn? He goes, yeah. And I go, you mean your angels do GPS for you? And he goes, yeah, I guess so. And I'm like, what? So I'm asking him, how do you do this? I want that. Okay. And he's talking about playing the yes or no game. It's just always just be with somebody. Okay. When you're with them, Just say, is this going to help them or is that going to help them? And always give yourself two options and then go with which feels best. When I first learned how to do some of this stuff, and I'm not at GPS levels yet, but I can certainly find excellent restaurants when I'm in a strange town. I'm like, turn here, go there. And we always hit. Okay. So what I did is I play the elevator game. When I'm at a bank of elevators, I'll push a button and then I will sense which one's going to arrive first. And it's just little practices until you're in the field and you feel it. And then every little gain, thank you, more please.
Yeah.
I love thank you more, please. I've never heard that before. And it made me start thinking about, does the universe have unlimited abundance? And I believe it does.
Yes.
I believe it does. But I think what had been programmed into me personally was a lot of good things happen to you and you feel happy about it, but then you kind of feel, should there be a limit of good things happening to me? Because, maybe I need to share or something, and it's
Right.
So it's not unlimited out there.
If I was doing a session with you, Jeff, and I don't want to do one right now, okay? But if I was doing one with you right now, I would push you back. Well, okay, how do you feel when you're not sharing or whatever it is? And then you would identify that feeling. Okay, then we go into the unconscious beliefs. Well, I'm supposed to, or else. Like, what will happen to you if you don't share? What's in the unconscious? Then people won't like me. They'll be cast out. They'll judge me, whatever. Okay, how does that make you feel? What unconscious belief do you hold about that? And then you go back to, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve. Okay, almost always. And then we go, okay, when did that get set in? And then they relax and we go back to their childhood and they'll sit there and say, okay, I was 3 and I really wanted these toys and I couldn't get them. And then my brother got them. And then mom started scolding me because I threw a thing and it just felt like there. And I go, good, what did your unconscious self say at 3? I'm not worthy. All right. And good, let's clear it there, clear it now, replace it. Some people write me back stuff, and since I like to brag, I'm just going to brag. But this one guy wrote me back, 30 minutes with Peter D was equivalent to 3 years of me doing therapy.
Now, you mentioned something about eye transmission or something like that. What was that you wanted to share with us?
Okay, so this is about awakening. Okay.
And this is another thing where if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, you should stop again and come back later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're going to go into the field and connect, and then we're going to get out of the way. We leave and we ask source to come through, and it's going to be coming through in the way that is best for every individual out there. So some people report seeing things on our faces. Some people sit there and say, oh my God, I felt this or that. But this is going to be specific. Before we were doing the second chakra clearing, this is going to be specific for awakening. Now, awakening is a slight gap in your brain of about just a fraction of a second, okay, between when you have an experience and reaction kicks in. For most people, Jeff, like if you hear somebody talking, you'll start thinking about what you're going to say, or it'll remind you of a book you read when you were 12, or a movie you saw, or song lyrics. So they're always in a mental memory reaction state rather than being present with what is going on. So the whole awakening is designed to slow down that gap just long enough to say, oh, something else is going on in my brain. And then you start to hear your mind say this and that in the background, but it's just like a little voice, a gnat flying around, and you don't pay attention to it. And then you choose to respond in the moment. And the more you do that, the more you're open to source for the response to come through you. And that's when you start doing and saying things that surprise you and you start getting results that you didn't get before that are just so wonderful. So awakening is super important. What we're going to do is a transmission to help set that gap in place, to help open that up.
And so again, important as a sovereign being to ask and allow for this, and to know that allowing means you're not efforting. You're not doing anything. You're just receiving and receiving and receiving.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry if you're not feeling anything in the moment. The divine's going to come through and it's going to be aligned with you and where you are at. And it will unfold over time. It will be like a time encapsulated blessing that will continue to unfold in your system and literally create a neurobiological shift in your field that allows this gap between experience and how the mind reacts to the experience.
Right. I'm just going to adjust this light for a second so we
All
can
right.
see our eyes a lot better. And then,
Now, should we be looking at you two or
yes,
have our
those
eyes
of you
closed?
watching this on YouTube, look in our eyes. Those of you who are listening in some other source, you're still going to feel a transmission, but actually look in our eyes. And let's just start with a little bit of that permissioning. Just go ahead and relax. You don't have to look at our eyes yet. Just close your eyes and welcome in your source. Thank your divine for being with you. And then say, I ask for, I allow, and I receive awakening. And then let it come to you in whatever form it comes to you. When you're ready, open your eyes. And when we're juiced up, we will open our eyes and just start looking into it. Oh. Oh. When you're ready, close your eyes. We recommend you pause the YouTube and just sit for a minute or two. The transmission will continue. Let it integrate. And when you're ready, you can come back, give a bit of gratitude, thank for your divine for everything you received, and you'll hear the rest of this interview.
Thank you both for that awakening.
It's so trippy doing this because we get out of the way and whatever comes through, right? And in my case today, it was like joy stuff. It was like, I was like, it was just so much to hold. My body was just laughing and shaking. It was like, wow.
Would you say then that you consciously were taking a back seat and some other energy or being was transmitting? Source was transmitting?
Source. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we say source, so the way we understand it, the divine is fractaled. Okay. Here's cosmology in 30 seconds. All right. The divine was everything. It knew everything. And when you know everything and you are everything, it gets boring. So it decided to get bigger. And the only way it could get bigger was to break itself into little fractal pieces and give each of those pieces two things: free will to do whatever it wanted to do, and forget. This way, there's no rules, and it can create any permutation at once. And so just on our planet, that's 8 billion permutations every second of interactions. And then if you fully experience what goes on, you get the emotional wisdom, you glean wisdom instead of mentally try to tell yourself something. And then spirit gets it too, because it's connected to you. And then the source grows. Okay. And it gets more and more. So we're like little God bots at the cutting edge of creation, making more and more creation simply by having our experiences. Everybody who asks their purpose, well, what's my purpose? Your purpose is to live. You have experiences and then you complete them. That's your purpose. If they make you happy, great, do those more. If they don't make you happy, do those less. That's it. There's no big plan beyond that because we got free will. Now, because God is fractal, that means every little bit of God is in every seed. Just like a seed, you plant a seed and it grows into a tree and it bears fruit, and then it can have more seeds and more fruit. So the source is in you at every level, and you're in source at every level where you shift your consciousness. Now, what we just did was get out of the way. We've developed enough release of our densities that we're no longer tied just to our awareness, our mental head. Basically, we know without a doubt that we are consciousness, existence, bliss. So we can just go into the field of consciousness, and because it's fractal, we can go at any level. So we just go right to the seed kernel source and say, okay, we're connected. Come on out, give people awakening.
I want to add something. I think a lot of how I got where I am is by audacity. I have no idea why. But even when I was a kid, like I can remember sitting against a redwood tree and just sensing that this tree like was doing something. It was like it was connecting the heavens and the earth, right? Through its branches and then through its roots. And I loved the feeling state that I went into when I was sitting with this redwood tree. And I just was like, can you come home with me? Can I have this feeling again? Can I have you with me? Right. So it started that young. And somewhere along the line, I got trained to be a counselor and I learned about this chair exercise. But at one point, I had the audacity to ask, could I switch out of my consciousness and experience what it would be like to be in God's consciousness? And it was like vibrationally, definitely more that I can hold. But the sense that I got was that God was just loving. It was like if there was an orchestra with every instrument in the world, maybe playing all totally out of sync and out of key, but he was just loving that everybody was their own beautiful instrument and playing what they liked when they liked. This was joy for God. That was my sense. And that was enough to knock out all the sense, old beliefs that I had that, I'm supposed to be doing something. God wants me, to be here doing this certain thing or that certain thing. No, it was like freedom. God wants me to experience. God wants me to explore. God wants me to find out who am I as a little fractal of the whole of God that came here for some of my my own reason. Through exploration, I become more and more authentic to what I am.
Yeah. One of our teachers that we both learned a lot from, you know what an ascended master is. Now imagine that in a body. And so we're talking a dude with Christ level skills, and we're not making this stuff up. Anyway, Sri Bhagavan, he's taught us that uh, if you work at it 10 minutes a day, you'll thrive. If you work at it 20 minutes a day, you'll transform. And that's all that clearing, moving the density stuff out. The result of it is you hit causeless joy because you understand your consciousness, existence, bliss. You are no longer just a mind. Everybody thinks they're their mind, and that's just not how to do it. You eventually have to tell your mind, shush, I'm having this experience now. And then your mind will keep gibbering, but you just have to not be your mind. But I had this thought, so what? Tell it to shut up and focus on this experience, okay? So eventually you get to be consciousness, existence, bliss. And when you're in that state, the result is causeless joy. We just both went paddle boarding yesterday, and then we went and saw a play, and I had dinner with friends, and every moment we were like two little kids that were giddy. And it was like a full 24-hour period for no reason. Just, okay. So this is where we're headed when you're in that. To get there, you have to move through all your densities and blockages. So if you're not in a causeless joy state, that's a pretty good sign you got this stuff in you. So awareness is the first step. We've given you this awakening thing, and it's not like a one-shot deal. You want to practice it and do more to let yourself quiet your mind. And we explain that in our books and in our classes and stuff like that. But you know that until you hit those causeless joy as your bottom line, as your state of being, that you got some work to do. That's what you came on the planet for, was to move out of those densities because you're tired of being in those densities. But it can happen, and because of the energy of ascension, where Gaia is already there and it's getting stronger, every person who climbs up the ladder a little bit creates a bubble of heaven. And when Spirit was telling us about the 400 or 40-year choice, Spirit was saying, hey, look, enough of you become a bubble of heaven. You will radiate around you. It'll start to quiet other people's minds. They will start doing things differently. Then the whole planet will pop because you hit critical mass. So those of you who are interested, if you're not in causeless joy, yeah, it's going to take some work, and it might take a few months or maybe even a year or two of working at it. But weigh that to how old you are. I tell my clients, look, you got 40 or 50 years of suffering. Can you spend an hour really focusing to release it? Can you do that maybe 20 minutes a day for a few weeks? It's a fair trade, a few weeks of working on it versus 40 years of suffering, but it's available to you, Jeff, and to everybody listening. And hopefully during that eye transmission, you got a little taste of what it was like.
On a lighter note, how did you two get together?
There came a time where Peter had really learned to swing dance, and he needed a new swing dance partner. The one he had, just for whatever reason, didn't have the time to put into it anymore. And so and I love to dance, and he was delighted to find out that I would actually let him lead.
Yeah, a lot of
And I
women
would
you
be a
dance with,
follow.
a lot of women you dance with won't surrender the lead. And at one point, Tracy came out of a move and I stopped and I said, when you come out of the move, can you do this? And she gave me that little huff of why. And I go, because if you do this, I can make 5 other moves next. And if you don't, I have to step back and get on the beat again. And so she did. And then it was beautiful. And I'm like, we danced our way into a relationship.
That's a beautiful story. Well, after watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you guys and ask you questions. Are you open to that? And if so, what's the best way to reach you?
Please get in touch. So our website is becomingawesome.one.one, becomingawesome.one. You can ask questions on the contact page. If you're ready to do some serious clearing work, then Tracy and I offer sessions by donation 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's not about making money, although if you do want to drop a big donation on us, yeah, okay. But it's where you're at. This is what we do for service, because we know that as we give, we receive. And now we get pretty full pretty fast. Every 3 months, we open up a block of sessions. So if you want to do no wait and actually pay money, you can book those on Fridays and just cut to the front of the line. So that's available. The other thing is the YouTube channel, which is Becoming Awesome. And I do a weekly channel, and sometimes it's not a channel, sometimes it's a lesson or a teaching. And Tracy just recorded her first channel, The Crone of Ages. And so she'll be doing a weekly channel as well.
Yep. It was a long time coming. I'd been asking for it for a long, long time. And spent so many years only connecting to people's sacred higher self or whatever. It just seemed like a big jump to get out and do a message just to the general public. And then next thing you know, I woke up one morning and they're like, this is the day, you're doing it.
Yeah. So on Becoming Awesome, we've got books. If any of this stuff is good for your mental, we got a free section with lots of tools, including a start here and a short video of the awakening transmission, so you can get doses of that regularly to help quiet your mind. So there's free tools there. We also offer classes, and we do workshops and retreats. So check for when those are coming up in your area.
Before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Absolutely. So Spirit is just begging me to let you guys know this. Just the fact that you are here watching these shows and other shows probably, and books and maybe courses or whatever, because you're curious and you're wanting to expand yourself. The universe has lined up for you something that you can admire and have appreciation for, because it is a mirror of that possibility, of that potential within you. You need to know you can be everything you have seen here or from any other guest. You just need to ask and allow it. Your divine cannot do anything for you unless you ask. So, beautiful ones, be audacious. Ask for everything, every expansion you want, every gift you want in your life, and it will be granted.
So Archangel Michael has been really wanting to get in on this, and I'm going to bring him in to do this message. Give me 1 second, please. Dearest souls, if you could just experience the joy we experience in connection, because what we experience with you is so magnificent. You are so vast. You do not know who you are because you have limited yourself to what you call your mind and consciousness here now. But we see you in all your past lives and future lives. We see you every level as you're connected to Source. Your reach and magnificence and expansion is amazing, and it is delicious because of you playing so freely. So our message to you now is understand you are beloved. You are magnificent. It is within you. You can choose to express it as you release and let go of what has been holding you into whatever pain or misery you have. You can move into this expansive state and know when you do, you will be received by me, by all the angelic realm, by so many beings who love you, because it is a reflection that you are that magnificent love.
Thank you for your messages, and thank you both for being my guest.
Our honor. Blessings to you and everybody listening and watching.
Yes, so many blessings, and thank you so much.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.